So while we've got this roof uncovered, we have done all that around there. I'll show you that in a minute. We are moving on to fascias now. So I thought I'd just talk you through how we put fascias on. It could be quite a simple task really, but I just thought I'd go through with you what we're doing and how we're setting it out. So to maintain a bit of aesthetics really, as you can see, we're only short by this much of a length. Rather than having a join there, we've took the extra expense and we're going to cut this in half. So what Luke's done is measured the external size of the building, and we're going to cut this to the centre of this building now, -5mm, because you've got to have a gap between your fascias to put your cover strip over. So that's what he's been doing. And what he's got his tool belt out, and he's using this. It's his granddad's square. A lot of sentimental value. It's probably older than he is. However, it appears he doesn't care that much, because look at the state of it. I've got to apologise to all the carpenters watching.
That's a bricklayer's square.
Is that a bricklayer?
Yeah, that's what.
There's no excuse. What would your granddad think?
That's probably cleaner than he ever had it, that is.
Right, so now we've done taking the mickey out of Luke. What I've done here, I've just made, you may have caught it on that camera up there, I've just put my square up the face of this and made sure this is all nice and square now and in line. We've then doubled it all the way round. I've done it this way just to get our full 150 at the back there, which is what we've got now. And I put a bit of 11mm ply in between it to give it some rigidity and to make sure that we're nigh on flush in the middle as well. And that's that. This is all perfect level. I want to get the planer and just take off these little bit of edges, just because I think it's the way it's sitting. If you can look at that, those pre-made trusses, look, they're not exactly bang on, are they? See that? So of course all I can do is follow it, so I'll just get the planer and just knock these little high spots off. If there's a little bit around, I could just get that off as well, but I mean that's only a little bit and it might not matter too much, but it does to me. So I should do that. We've ripped all the tiles off as well. We presume that he's going to want us to put ply in there just to run his membrane up. So I mean that is the back of the building there, look, so we're not even into the house, which is good. We've not disturbed anything. But I'm told in there it's all been spray foam, so I'm glad we're not taking it off, so we wouldn't get the tiles off without replacing them all. He's due to come shortly, so you may catch him on the camera when he does, but we'll probably have to put ply in there, and our thoughts are then, we'll take this off, we'll put ply up there, we'll run ply all along there, and he can put his membrane to it, rather than trying to get in underneath there, which at that point in the centre is 25mm from the deck, which isn't any good. We tried to redesign, but even going this way, we'd have gained about this much. So it's just pointless. We got to do something, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to start fitting our fascias, I've already said. We're going to get these cut, and then I'll talk you through in a minute about how we like to set our pins and the best way to fit it. So we've marked it on the fascia now, the lengths. We're going to cut that with it's better with an older saw really, so it's not so sharp, but so we keep our old saws for this kind of thing. And then you've got to be careful when you cut through right to the end, because it just snaps off. And the corners that go on over there, they don't really cover excellently for capping board, because they're not very deep, so you have to be careful. Take a bit of extra care when you're cutting. However, a sharper saw is always pleasurable. Be cutting bricks with that. Right, so now we've done that, what we tend to do now, is that a scratch on there, or is that not a scratch on there, is it? No, just in the plastic. Yeah, we'll peel it off, mate, yeah. So, now that's done, what I like to do now is I like to come up 50mm from the bottom, so I get my little combination square to keep in my pouch, come up 50mm, and then I come in 100mm from the ends, because when you put your corners on you don't want to be touching your pins, so I put one on. So if you come in 100mm that end as well, Luke, please, and then I put a little dot on the black fascia. Now I'm only going to mark the end two, and then we'll just space these out once he's done that. So you come in under, and then we'll measure between the two. What we got there? Right, that is 2,480. Okay, there's a square there if you want it. So we need to go 2,480. So I know I've got to come 1,240. So that mark that one, and then I'll put one in between that, which should be 620. 1,240. Yep, 620. That's that, 620. So the pins now are spaced about 600 apart, which is about right. And all we do then is get your pins. In this instance, we've obviously got the black pins to match the black fascia, to match the black windows, to match the black lantern. Black! Everything's black! What was that? What was that from? Was that, was it the Fast Show? I think it, in the comments, I'm pretty sure that was a character in the Fast Show. So some of you of a certain age, Luke's probably one of them, might not remember the Fast Show, but I do. But I can't remember the character's name. I think he was a bloke, like a painter or something. And I think he was like, everything's black. My life is black. And he was talking about, I don't know. Anyway, in the comments, I'm pretty sure it's a Fast Show.
Black, 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 like the clouds of death that follow me into the forest of doom and hide in the wardrobe of darkness. Black, black, black.
That was great, that was.
ACDC.
Huh? Back is black.
No, that's Amy Winehouse, isn't it?
That's back to black. Which line are we going to there, mate? Your line or my line?
That one.
Okay, excellent. Is that a Bricky's 50mm, that one?
That is, yeah.
Excellent. So, now we've got that cut. We have actually got to put the trim on the underside of this first, so we will do that first before we do this. But what we do now, we just put it in place, pull it up tight to the trim, and then we get a profile or level and just make sure that it goes up tight to the underside of the trim. However, it's not doing this if for any reason there's discrepancy on the timber, which I know there isn't. It's a flat plywood deck, so I know there isn't. But if you're going to existing timber that's already on there, like the one we've showed you, which we're not going to be doing because that's going to be coming off, and it's been warped or it's missing chunks, you don't want to be putting upon the profile of that, because when you look up your roof, you'd see the fascia doing this. And when you put your gutter on, it accentuates it even more, and that looks terrible. So we'll put our trim on and we'll put this fascia on, and then that front will be done. Another thing we've got to do then is we've got to trim the top of this off to the deck, because this fascia at the front is a lot narrower than the sides, but we bought the 8-inch so we can go around the side because it tapers up, and there's no point buying two 150s for this, a 8-inch for that, a 250 for that. So we thought, you know what, get two 8-inch, cut it and use the offcuts off these two to go around the corner, and we'll just put a joint. It's round the corner, round the back. It's never going to be seen by the customers, and it'll look nice and tidy. There'll be no joins at all, other than the centre of this, which would be nice and uniform, in between the windows below. In fact, that is, it's bang on in the windows below. It's almost you've done that on purpose, haven't you? Well done. Did you mean to do that, or is that just that a mistake?
No, it's all...
Yeah, all thought out.
All thought out.
fascia is complete all the way around, cut off flush with the top of the deck, and then we've put this on edge 2x1 lath fixed solid into there, 90mm straight into the timber. And what happened then is he'll bring his over here and then put his drip trim on there like that, and that'll be centre of our gutter, because that dimension there is 50mm, and when he puts his trim on it'll be right dead centre gutter. So make sure we do that. All we probably will do before we put the gutter on is put a trim under here so you can't see any wood underneath, a nice black trim. That's why what we'll do first, and fix it underneath. We won't put any corners on yet. We've put the joints as we talked about around here, so all that end is lovely, no joins. That joins in the centre and this joins around here. We've used the offcut of the 250 board and the 8-inch boards there to make sure we're flush with the deck. And then, as we discussed, we have put our 400mm board, flat board, all the way down. We've packed it up off the floor, and hopefully you've caught it on that camera. We have dropped a DPC, a big one, there it is there, look, big 600 or whatever, it's 630 or whatever, from the top all the way down onto the roof, and then packed it up using the little bits of 11mm off the deck, all a nice nice even. And then I've cut the DPC back off again, so it is behind there, so nothing can capillarate. It'll just go straight on the DPC. We've lapped it over that corner there, so when I put that join on, I will drop that down, trim it to the roof, and then I'll just mastic over that, over the top of that, when I put the join on. We have made up the end of this here with a bit of 4x2. That's a run that flush, and then we've lapped that round there, and what we'll do, we'll put a piece of trim, bit of this stuff on there now, and then we'll put a demould or something on the end of that as well, or a bit of flat trim or whatever we've got, and then we'll span that joint there. So we'll cut this back and then span over that joint so it goes onto the brickwork once he puts his trim over the top like that, all the way around the perimeter trim. So we're happy with that. Screwed the top because you're not going to see it because his trim comes 60mm down, and we poly pinned into the end of all those diminishing battens that come across here, all the way across, so you can see all the chalk lines, look, so we knew where the joists were, and we knew how high they were. All I did, I just used a bit of a brick just to give me a height off the deck, so at least the pins all look pretty even. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to put these, which is my 28x25mm battens that go on the top of there like that, if I can get that on there like that without it falling off, and that then forms my rebat like that, like so my glass sits in there on top of that, and on top of that, the picture's on the screen, you can see what I mean. All Luke is going to do now is just clearing all the roof off. The Sarnafil guy has been, and he's happy for us to do what we've already talked about. However, he's got a good idea. We're going to put, take this off, 18mm down to the deck, so it's solid down to the deck. We're then going to put an 18mm from the back of that up to the top of this lath. We're going to mark the top of this lath now, take this lath off, and that lath will then become the, if you want to call it, the hanger, the location point for the tile, and he'll run his PVC Sarnafil stuff up here and onto there and level with the top of our ply. Then we will felt up as high as we can get. We'll take some more tiles off, run the felt all the way down over the top. We are going to put EPS on this as well to bring us further out, because I don't know if I pointed out to you, but the tiles weren't really hitting the centre of the gutter anyway, because at some point they've obviously had this done, PVC, UPVC fascia, and it's you know, it's only about 30mm overhanging, so we're going to put EPS on to bring it further out to get centre of gutter again. We are going to replace all of this, new fascia, new gutter, new downpipe over there, just to make sure it looks nicer. He's going to run all the way around here with his Sarnafil stuff, and then put a cutting joint all the way through there. So we are back today, and although I've made a mess of it with the dust, trying to get all the dust off there, which I'll have to sweep now and clean and probably mop it, we are done. The Sarnafil installer is just coming back now just to put me a trim, a bit of a weld all the way across the top, this and there, so it's not exposed, just to finish that off. And this is what we're talking about, we're going up the roof then onto there like that. So on top of there now I'll have my eave protector all the way along, and then I'll have my breathable felt, and then lath, and then obviously tiles on top of that, so I'm happy with that. I've took the tiles back now, hence all the dust, above, so it goes above the where we join the house, so I can felt that all the way in to this point, which I'm happy about. Yes, I made a bit of a mess of the roof, I haven't had the looks of it, but it was covered in dust, in ice this morning. You can see a big pile of ice there, loads of this there to take off here. This is all full of ice here, so I've to take this off. And then once we've dressed all this in, Luke will be back tomorrow, and we're going to get all these bricks compounded and reset, and then bed all these tiles back in, because obviously now is a point of moving all these tiles. We've disturbed the compo, which to be honest has probably been done God knows how many decades ago anyway. And again, same as this one, Jay from Sarnafil is just going to come and top that off now for me just before, so I can get ready to do my glass, and we are done. I have just spoke to Jay as well, and he screwed that onto there temporarily for me, but he says I can cut that back because we discussed the top of the OSB, which is under there, which you can't see. That's in effect that's the eaves tile lath which we're going to use, so I can cut that back to that now. Now I've exposed it all, it can't flap and get water behind it, and I can then put my tile on top, start my eaves tile off, so that's good, even though I think my eaves protection tray will come up top of that anyway, so that should work out really well. Right then, let's get something done. Just very quickly talk through what I've done, pretty much off camera, just because Jay was here doing all the Sarnafil, finishing off. As you can see, he's put me lovely top all over there now, and he's put me on over the top of here as well, which I'm happy with. All I'll do when I'm ready to go, I'll just cut that back to my rebate, or I may just cut it there and push it down and encapsulate it into the whole window, but we shall see. But anyway, at least it's covered and I'm happier now. So yes, back to this. What I've done is I have fixed my gutter brackets directly through the membrane, put the sticks like onto the back of the bracket as well, just to make sure it seals the screw as it goes in. What I've done then is I've then put my EPS here, set myself into the centre gutter, because if you remember from last episode or the episode before, the tiles didn't actually go into the centre of the gutter because I'd added onto it, and we were short anyway. So what I've had to do is I wanted to put an EPS on to then allow us to get back to centre gutter, and it would have been harder to get this on and get the brackets on after if I hadn't done it this way, hence I've had to do it backwards. Luckily I can still move this, lift this up a little bit to get to put a corner on there now. Put a corner on there and put a stop running outlet in that corner instead, and run this down pipe into the side of it, rather than like it was before, coming up and underneath, because I wouldn't, if you can see that, I wouldn't get the bend up there now anyway to my running outlet. So there we are. Then what I've done is I've took more tiles off, and I've gone up and above, up to the lath there. Once that goes up there, look like that, I've gone over that tile, over that lath there, and then my tile will go on top of that, because I can't get that tile lath out. Well, I can't actually get it back in or screw it back in, because as I've always said to you, I'm expansion foamed, or it's foamed in insulation under this, so I can't get the tiles off. I'm really struggling. What Jay's also done for me, he wanted to wait till I'd done this to then put this in on here. So as you can see, if I move that, he's then run a trim down there, look, like that. And then what I'm going to do here, I'm going to fix this, and I'll short mastic that in and get all that finished off. What I'm contemplating at the minute is running a lead run lead all the way down there to cover that. So I should fix this and cover it over with lead, mastic it in. And again, this is put that under there just for any potential weak point which could occur here. So we wanted to make sure we do that. So I'm happy, I'm pleased with that, I'm happy with that. Once we put our lead soakers back in, we should be good, because our lead over the top. So I'll drop this this felt now, and this cut it back to just before the centre gutter, so it doesn't sit in the gutter and rot. And then what I've decided to do is, rather than putting the eaves tile on like that, as you can see how short it is, and that position there is where it was before, which is 140 back from the fascia. I don't like that, so what we're going to do now, I'm going to have to get some more tiles, even though they're going to stand up like a sore thumb. Put that on there like that, so that sits centre gutter now, look, if you look at that. And then when I put my other tile on top, another big tile, so rather than an eaves tile, like a normal tile, I'll put my other tile on top of there like that, but obviously of course it'll bigger like that, and run down to there, and I think that'll look a lot nicer. I haven't got to worry like you would do normally. You'd have your eaves tile like that, wouldn't you? Over the top like that. That's what you'd normally have. You'd have it like that. So because of that point there, you could go into your roof, but I don't need to worry because I have got the eave protection there. So when I put the tiles together, the gap there now is covered by this and the felt as well, so I'm happy with that. There we are, the last laths are on. What I've done is I've started to put my tiles on. You can see now what I'm saying regarding the full tile at the bottom. Obviously I've got to have I might get away with a full tile there as well, maybe. I've been working out my gauge from that end, which is a tile and a half. So I'll be able to get a full tile on there, like that. And then I'll start with a tile and a half, next one, etc, etc. So there we are. You can see what I'm saying now about the not having the eaves tile on. There's not any reason why I can't do that, because I'm protected by the EPS and the felt anyway, so I'm happy with that. And then once our tile goes on there like that, oops, there we are, and then that'll be exactly the same as it was before. But so there we are. Some of these lugs are a little bit worn, they're a bit gone a bit angled now, but Luke is down the bottom, down there, all masked up and getting covered in dust, using the little bit of a brush he puts in his grinder to get the compo off, because you can see they're all sort of covered in compo, and we didn't want to start hammering at it or chisel at it in case it snapped the tiles, and we're going to have to buy some anyway, because unfortunately some have broken, or where they've already been pre-cut. I mean, a bit like this one, that one's pre-cut, but it's been pre-cut with someone's metal spoon, by the looks of it, that they've been stirring the coffee with, not any kind of cutting implement like a grinder to make it tidy. And then we've got things like this, where it's that stuck together, we reckon we're not going to get it apart anyway without breaking a tile, so we are going to have to buy some. What I do now, I'm actually going to fix these on now with an 1.25 inch drywall screw, just one screw in each, just because the holes are a bit mangled up, and because the lugs are what have you, and I just like the idea of doing that instead. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll get these on, and then we'll leave the ends unscrewed so we can then compo them back in after. And then we are going to get a piece of lead in there and drop the piece of lead down there and under here. So like I said, we can leave all these here unscrewed, and then we can do that after. But it's a bit too cold to do it today. It's -2. So we can't do any compoing today, so we'll hopefully next time we come we can do it then and rebed that end on like we talked about. So we are done for today. Managed to get that tiled in. We managed to get all the bonds in, other than over here, where we think what's happened is they've thrown some Tana halvers in down the side here because they look brand new look, and pulled the bond over. I don't know why it hasn't worked out, but it hasn't. Look, see that? Don't know. Can't work that out because everything's all in line this side. It's all perfect and all across the bottom. What we've done is we've also put some eaves tiles underneath the lead. We've put these bits of DPC back on for now because we've got to do under there. Reason being is it's still cold. I don't think it's got above 2 degrees today, and it's going to drop again tonight. So we decided, you know what, there's no point compoing that and it ruining it. What I've done then is I've put this on, albeit that is only temporary because that's got to change anyway. But at least I've put the stop end on there, and all the water will now run away and off away from the roof. If it does run, I didn't want all this to pour off the main roof as well and go all over here. Not that it matters because it's waterproof now. Same that side. We are going to have to do quite a lot more work over here just because all this is disturbed. We're going to have to break this out, I think, nice and steady, and then compo the tiles back in from probably where it's solid up here, which seems quite solid up here, and then work our way back down again. And again, compo that big in, compo those bricks in. I have decided to cut this back to my rebate because I need that to put my window in, so I need to check my measurements, which I've done. I have now measured that. I have now measured this, so we can, an email tonight, get that on order. So we won't be back here now for a couple of weeks potentially because there isn't really much we can do until things start to turn up. However, we have got first fix starting on Monday. Today is Tuesday. So we got first fix starting, electrics, plumbing not as yet, that's another couple of weeks away, but that will start soon. So that will be on the channel. Probably at the same time we start fitting the lantern and the flat glass, so stay tuned for that. And we're going to do a bit of a how-to for you and for me of how to fit a lantern. I've never done one before, and I certainly haven't done one from Tuffex before either. The service I had last time and the quality of material and for the cost was excellent, so I'm sticking with them for now. So hopefully then, next episode will be either something from the garage conversion or something from the lovely patio area where we've had to make like mountain goats to get up and down materials and get ourselves up and down to the van. So hopefully you enjoy that episode, whichever it might be next week.